All right. What's good here? We're trying to make sure that we got it all. Okay, hold on, you all. Okay, cool. All right. Trying to get a few things together. What's good? Everybody, I'm gonna get going on this episode of Real Talk. uh, okay, it's not exactly what I'm trying to do. Okay, hopefully it's working now. Okay. Okay. What's good, family? How's everybody doing? Cool. Hey. Uh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, cool. All right, word. Okay. All right, what's going on? Want to wait a few seconds, see if we can get a few people in. Hopefully, you all doing pretty good. I'm gonna just give a few seconds here, see if we can get a few folks in here. I want to make sure I got this done today because I had intended on doing it earlier this morning. However, I had an obligation to to another group that I'm a part of this morning. We had to do some things this morning, so yeah, I couldn't quite do this thing today. Plus, I wanted to finish the actual series. Shout out to Miss Shika. How you doing over there? Peace. Okay, cool. All right, so at this point, we are live on all three platforms. So what's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook Live? And what's going on Instagram? How's everybody doing? All right, cool. Okay, so I wanted to offer. I don't know. I think I would offer sort of a different perspective on some of the dialogue that's been surrounding the surviving um, R. Kelly docuseries. And if you all have not seen it, let me just tell you, this docuseries was rough. I mean, like it was well done. I thought it was well done, but it was long, and to just be, in a space where you're like dealing with somebody being sexually taken advantage of, it's not it's not the funnest way to spend like 6 hours of your life, and so, but I wanted to really listen. I wanted to listen. I wanted to really gain insight into the thinking of R. Kelly, into the thinking of the teenagers and adults. There were teenagers and adult women who were a part of this, as what's termed as a sex cult. And so I wanted to just like really try and really try to understand what what took place and what went into the thinking, like what went into the thinking of such just craziness that could produce this kind of an arrangement. I just thought it was just crazy. So anyway, I'll just sort of give you guys like a brief about it, and then I kind of want to talk about it as an insight into our culture. Okay. And I know I just sort of like termed it as Black culture, but I want to sort of just get, just sort of give a different sort of perspective. So anyway, you guys, so at this point, you all pretty much know that it's a docu-series concerning the women who survived being a part of R. Kelly's what's termed as a sex cult. And I guess it is. I guess it is a sex cult or whatnot. I'm not quite sure. A lot of times, you got to be careful about, how popular media just sort of like just calls, a group. So they'll call any group a cult. Like you could just be together, rapping, and they'll call you a hip hop cult or something like that. So, but this kind of thing right here, I mean, this thing was strange. I mean, I have to admit, this thing was really, really strange, and it's just amazing that this kind of an arrangement between R. Kelly and the women that were involved could go on for as long as it has, and this guy is not locked up. It is amazing. It is amazing, and and I'm sort of like just like listening to all of those um like the testimonies from the women who were involved, and it's just amazing. It is just truly amazing, and at the same time, it was kind of draining. But I feel like in something that's in regards to trying to get a better insight for in terms of our women. I think that is worth it. Like in other words, like if it's going to help me understand women, our women particularly, a little bit better, then I will invest 6 hours of my life to try and do that. So that's pretty much what it was. I mean, like the whole docu series. You heard these various testimonies, and you also heard from some parents who made efforts to try and rescue their daughters, and and it was amazing. It was amazing. So let me just sort of talk about a little bit about what was so amazing, if you would. The first thing was I was amazed at um okay, so I can understand teenage young girls um being fascinated, with R. Kelly being a superstar and whatnot. Um but what I don't understand is how grown like women in their 30s, like how like women in their 30s, how can you be whopped up into this kind of a deal and you go along with this kind of deal. And like some of these women were like falling in love with this dude. I mean, I'm like, man, like maybe there is a such thing as game, so to speak. But I'm just like, come on, yo, you are like 30, like flat out 30. You are 30. All right. First of all, if you are, I feel like the manipulation age cutoff should be something like, okay, fine, I give it to you if you're like a teenager and you get whopped up in this, okay, fine. But I figure about 20, 22, 23, you should have the intelligence to be able to sort of look at some of the signals and begin to pretty much make an intelligent decision as to whether or not this is something you want to sort of sink yourself into. Now, yeah, there's a principle in economics that says that people respond to incentives, and so there's an argument that and definitely for the teenagers, there were teenagers who were a part of this thing because they felt like getting hooked up with R. Kelly was kind of like a way for them to get into the music business, and if they just not tell him no and do what he said, no matter how outrageous it was, then it may get them closer to their goals. And so for the teenagers, I get it. Like you're a teenager, you're a dreamer. A lot of times we're not quite thinking rationally as teenagers. Perhaps that part of our brains aren't quite developed just yet. But after like the 22 period, like if you still getting like somebody's wilding you out with carrots, like wheeling you in with carrots. I'm wondering what kind of input was put into the person to be able to allow them to be easily, I guess you could say, taken away, by I guess this idea of being with a superstar. And um, and so I was amazed by that. But more another group that I was amazed by were the black men. Okay, the black men who worked for R. Kelly, who actually perpetuated this situation. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, damn. I'm like, man, dog. Like, are we really that like money and sex hungry? Like, we just do anything just for money? Like, just flat out, like I'm going to be aligned with this crazy freak dude, like for money, like just whatever. I mean, like especially like basically abducting teenage girls for money, or like he sort of works through his people. Like he don't quite do it himself. He works through his people. But these were black men, brothers. These were brothers. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, yo, like, where is your stand, bro? Where is your stand? Like, man, like, do we stand for our community or what? Like, do you stand for the sisters of what, dog? And so it sort of, so I sort of get it with, like in pop culture, like everything is a product, everything is objectified. So, so women become objects, just like any other product and so forth. I mean, dudes too. Now they become objects as well. And but I'm just like, man, I'm like, I'm just thinking to myself, like, there should have been like some values, some put somewhere in somebody to say, yo, this is just against humanity. Like, this is just, I mean, like, this has taken the idea of, like, like this pimp idea and slave culture. It's like a mix of like pimpism and slave culture together. And this is kind of like what you get with R. Kelly. You get, like, pimpism and slave culture mixed together, and it creates this freaky situation. And it is furthermore interesting when you look at what was put into him. And so, like, you go into his childhood, and sadly to say, like many kids, not only in our community but around the world. I mean, a lot of times underage or kids, get taken advantage of, and that's very sad. That is sad. But damn, I'm like, so this dude gets sexually taken advantage of, and he grows up and he becomes like this monster. He becomes this monster where he's like, basically, I mean, really, you could basically call it sex trafficking, really. That's really what it was, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, where are the brothers? I'm like, where is our crew of Babas? Like, where is our crew of warriors, man? Like, we should have been able to go up in there and save. We should have been able to go up there and save them sisters, man. And I feel for the babies, man. I mean, like, I'm saying the babies, they're like, 16, 17, 18, for even all the way up to 20, early 20s or whatnot. I still look at them as babies, and I'm just like, man, like, where was the fight? And then the big question a lot of people are trying to answer is, so who's to blame? Okay, who's to blame? Do we blame R. Kelly? Do we blame the girls? Like, who do we blame? And I sort of look at this like percentages. I look at it as percentages. Okay, so the first percentage that I'm going to put, the bulk of this percentage is, yes, I'm going to put it on R. Kelly. Okay, so I'm going to say 80% R. Kelly. Okay, and all of his all of the people that work with him. Okay, the other 10%. Okay, or the other 20 I'm going to split. So 10% I'm going to put on the ladies, especially the adults. You all that were 30 and over, no excuses. I expect better of you. You're more intelligent. You're more intelligent than that. Okay, so I put that on you. Okay, and so and you all were strong enough to come out of that situation. And also the 19-year-old, her name Faith. She was strong sister. Much props to you all. Much props to the parents, man, who've been in there fighting to try to get their kids out of there, man. I really pray for you all, and I really hope you all are able to get those precious young ladies out of there. Yeah, and so, but then the other 10%. And really, I don't know if I should make it 10% or 100%, but I'm going to place that blame on us as a community, on us as a community, and our culture. Okay, we need to really, um, and don't get me wrong, okay? Like I don't want to say there is a magic solution, okay? Because culture is something that is lived and it's not correct all the time. But we have to be. We should take the good things about our culture and put it extract the values and try to put them inside our children and ourselves as parents, as adults, and live by them, and up until we become elders, and to just perpetuate a productive culture. Okay. Um, yeah, because the cultural values, the one sister, the cultural critic, Jamila Lemieux, not Lemieux, she said, this is just an example of how our culture, like how the cracks in our culture. This is just an example of showing us like how these fragments of our culture can manifest. And so I think when she made that statement, she was talking about like the overall culture, um, in terms of like just our societal culture. But I want to raise this further. I want to say our culture. I'm saying like our culture as Black people, our culture as being people of African descent. Once again, we need cultural values. Okay, we need cultural values that produce substantial adults and parents, that will ultimately produce productive, culturally minded children. Okay. And hopefully they grow into that. Now, once again, people are human, people make their own decisions. Okay. So you can't really necessarily make people. I mean, because there were parents that were actually telling their children, they were parents telling them, trying not to tell their daughters to go back. And some of those daughters actually went back anyway. And so it's just interesting. I'm just like, what kind of psychological juju? Okay, and I don't mean, when I say juju, I don't mean traditional African culture. I don't mean that. So I'm saying what kind of psychological mental manipulation juju did R. Kelly put on these daughters to where they were actually away, they actually escaped and then wanted to go back. I mean, that is just amazing. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, damn, R. Kelly, like you could have like taken that same energy and you could have like built them up. You didn't have to like over sexually manipulate them and psychologically manipulate them. You didn't have to do that. You could have taken that same energy, that same potential, and raised them up so that when they go out in the world, they could have been amazing torch carriers and shining awesome light into the world, and could have made a positive contribution to the world versus manipulating them, breaking them down, hurting their loved ones. It was just really just it kind of just goes to show you just how like greed, the thirst for power, and particularly the women. I sympathize for the ladies, okay, particularly our sisters in this particular context here. I feel for them, and I'm just like, man, I'm like, brothers, raise the fuck up, yo, raise up, man, like really for some doggone sex, man, really, come on, dog, come on. Like, man, it just, man, like, come on, we just got to do better. We got to do better as a people. We got to do better as a culture. We just got to do better. We just got to do fucking better. Okay, we just got to do better. We got to do better. And and part of doing better, part of doing better, part of doing better is understanding who you are in terms of who you are culturally, okay, and extract the values so that we can live by those values. I mean, we got them all in our culture, okay? I mean, we can go a lot of times. I mean, the religious communities do an okay job, okay, all right. But I'm saying like we don't have to use spookyism. We don't got to do that, okay? Like you can go all the way back to our ancient traditional culture, Okay, and just look at our values. You can look at the laws of Ma'at. You can look at the values. I mean, they sort of um, if you look at the laws of Ma'at and you just sort of look at like traditional like African culture, like you can find those same values. Okay. Now, once again, okay, I'm not saying you don't have deviations because humans do deviate. They do. They deviate. Okay. And and so but the thing is, we have to just recognize, get present to your culture, man. Your culture can protect you. Okay. And our babies, part of the, we just gotta just try to help develop listeners within our babies and help them value wisdom, because there were adults trying to tell the babies, don't go left, and some of these babies still went left anyway. So it's like the wisdom was there, but the pursuit of it wasn't. Okay. And or following the wisdom, and it's just like, once again, this is a fragment within our culture. We got to raise that up. So I'm going to say, to you, R. Kelly, you are a bum, okay? And anytime that I play music at my family reunions, I'm no longer playing your music. You are a bum. You are scum. You misrepresent us as kings, okay? You misrepresent us, okay? And to the babies and to the women, who are sadly taken advantage of, I'm so sorry for you all. And, and I do want to tell you that you don't have to be a victim. You are a survivor, and really, you're still living, you still have breath of life, and you can go out and still have an amazing life. Okay. You don't have to be a victim of this right here. And, so I sympathize for you, and to my brothers. Okay. My brothers, raise the fuck up. Okay. You don't have to be a victimizer. Okay. I'm so sick and tired of us victimizing our sisters, man. You don't. Okay. You don't. You're fucking king. Act like it, be it, live it. Okay. And I don't know. Definitely R. Kelly does not have any culture. He does not, this scum. Okay. And that's just what it is. So thank you all. I just had to give my 2 cents on this right here. And thank you all for tuning in to our second episode of Real Talk. Yeah, so surviving R. Kelly was rough, but it is insightful. And so now that we got that insight, let's raise up. All right. Peace be unto you. See you all next week. All right. Peace.